afternoon and welcome. Glad to see you all here today. So let's get started. Today we're going to talk about the iOS home screen. Now, some of the things we're talking about are new in iOS 16. Many of these things that we're going to look at are existing in older operating systems, so you may be able to do this even if you haven't updated to iOS 16. And of course, we are saying this is the time that you can update to iOS 16 because it is 16.3. So we think it's pretty much ready for prime time. So this is Go for Lunch for February the 7th, 2023, brought to you by GoFor Technology. I'm your host, Roger Harmon, and we're here to make your technology work for you. So the iOS home screen and app organization is our topic for today. We're going to learn how to move apps around on your iPhone, and of course everything we're talking about today pertains to the iPad as well. So we're going to start from the basics. Most of you probably know some of this, but we think we're going to find some things that you may not have been aware of before. So to move an app, you simply touch and hold any app on the home screen. You can either tap Edit Home Screen on a little window that pops up, or you can continue to hold it and the apps begin to wiggle. So we call that wiggle mode, also edit mode. And so let's go ahead and look at that. So we're going to go to the Inspectocam and wake up our iPhone. So here we are in the home screen. So if we want to move an app, we put our finger on the app, hold it there, and you can see here it says Edit Home Screen. However, I kept on holding it, and now it is in the edit mode, which we know because everything is wiggling. So that went by pretty fast. So here's what it looks like. A little window pops up and you click on Edit Home Screen, or again, continue to hold it and it goes into wiggle mode. So now we can drag the app to one of the following locations. We can go to another location on the home page, or we can go to another home screen page. And the way we do that is we drag the app to the edge of the screen. It may take a second or so for that new page to appear. And then be aware that the dots above the dock show how many pages you have and which one you're viewing. Now, this has changed in iOS 16. Before, you had one dot representing each page that you had. Now you only have 4 dots, so you don't get one dot for each page, but there's some other features that you do get, and we're going to show you those in just a second. So let's go to the Inspectocam, and we're going to select an app here by touching it, holding it. We're in wiggle mode, so now we can simply move around wherever we go. The other apps make room for it, and if we want to go to another screen, we bump it against the screen on the right edge, and the screen scrolls over. To go the other way, we bump on the left edge, and now we're back to the home screen, and it can't be down here in this blank area. It has to be next to another app. So if we let go, it goes where it can go. So when you're finished, you can press the home button, or if you don't have a home button, you would tap Done. You can also tap in between the icons, and if you do nothing, after about 25 seconds, the home screen will return to normal. So here we see the home screen is still wiggling. We could hit Done up here in the upper right hand corner. Now it timed out, so it turned off automatically. But let's put it back into edit mode. So the other way to do it is just touch a blank area. You can either touch one down here or just in between apps, and that will take you out of edit mode. So to drag the apps again, you go into wiggle mode. You continue holding the app. You can swipe between home screen pages. Now, a new feature is you can now do multiple app icon moves at once. So to do that, you touch and hold the first icon, and then you tap edit or keep holding till they get into wiggle mode, and then you tap additional apps and that adds it to the group. So let's see how that works. So here we're going to tap this first icon here, and it goes in the wiggle mode. So we have that one. So now we can just take another finger and tap additional icons. Now, I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to have to do this again. There's a little badge, a blue circle with a number in it that shows you how many apps you have. So I'm going to let go. When I let go, you notice they just reappear. So I'm going to grab this one down in the corner. Now I'm going to tap. Now you can see the little badge with the 2 in it. There's a 3, and there's a 4. So I can move this around anywhere on this page, or I can do the same thing as one app and move it to a different screen. And then when I let go, they all separate. So that's really handy. A good way to use that is, say you have 3 or 4 apps for one category, like maybe restaurant apps. You can grab those all and put them in one place, or we'll talk about putting them in a folder in a minute. So you can also grab these on different pages. So I can take the one and go to a different page and grab another one, go to a different page, grab a third one, go to a different page. And so there's another way to do it, to bring apps into a category. So now you notice there wasn't enough room on this page for those 4 apps that I'd gathered. So what it does is it puts the app at the beginning of the next page, which was also full. So that is the way that works. So we are back to our home page again. So let's talk about folders. We were talking about bringing things together, like apps, into one place, but that one place could be a folder. So now we touch and hold an app until it wiggles, and then we simply drag that app on top of another app, and that creates a folder automatically. So then we can drag additional apps into that folder. We can name the folder and touch and hold the folder until the Quick Actions menu appears. Then we click on Rename and type in the name and then type Done. So let's show you how that works. So I have 3 T-Mobile apps here that are not in a folder. So here we are. So I grab the first T-Mobile app. We go into edit mode, into wiggle mode. Okay. Then I'd simply drag it on top of the Tuesday app. So now I have a folder that's called Utilities. Then I'm going to drag this T-Mobile app on top of the folder. Sometimes it tries to get away from you, but we're going to persist here. Okay, come on. Let's try to go around a different way here. There we go. So now when I tap on the folder, you can see they're all in there, and it's been named Utilities. Well, I don't want it to be called Utilities, so if I hold down on the folder, I can select the Utilities. Let's try that again. Okay, so now it's selected, and I can just start typing T hyphen capital M, and then it gave me a suggestion here for mobile. I tap on that, and then when I'm done, I just tap here. So now I have a new folder with all my T-Mobile apps in it, named T-Mobile. And then I can tap anywhere to take it out of edit mode. It's already, I tapped, so it's already out of edit mode. So another nice little tip here is how to return to the home screen when you're way back in your apps. So all you do is you swipe up from the bottom edge. So we are way back in our apps here. So now I'm going to swipe up from the bottom. So my finger is down here at the bottom. Swipe up, and you can see it scrolled really fast, and we're on our first home screen. So let's talk about the page dots. So that's a new in iOS 16, the way it works. So they're on the bottom of the screen. So you can tap and hold and scroll on the search button, which is in the same place as the page dots. So here we are. Here's the search at the bottom of the screen. And if I scroll like this, then I can go over one page, but if I just hold it, I can scroll across many pages without having to do one at a time. And if I am real careful here, I can do one page that way, another page, another page. It's a little tricky. You have to practice this a little bit, but it's another way to navigate through your apps a little quicker than one page at a time. So let's get that straightened up there. So another new, relatively new, it I think came out in the last iOS update, iOS 15, was the app library. And so to find the app library, you go to the home screen and swipe from right to left till you get to the last page, and then you swipe one more time, and you're at the app library. So let's see how that works. Again, we can use our little trick here with the dots. So we can just push all the way to the right. So we're there on our last page. And then we swipe one more time. And here we are at the app library. So now we can tap the search field at the top and enter a name of the app we're looking for. So we tap where it says app library, that becomes the search field. And it also gives us an alphabetical list when we tap on search. So now we can scroll up and down alphabetically. Here are the A's, lots of A's. There's the B's, the C's, and so forth. And then it may be hard to see, but over here on the right is an alphabet, A through £. And this is kind of hard to do with your finger, because if I wanted to go to the O's, you see when I use my finger, maybe if I use the edge of my finger. Okay, so we went to the P's. So you have to be really very off to the right to make this work without opening up an app. So, for example, if I hit here in the eyes, there's the eyes. But you see, if I hit like that, it opens up the app. So I swipe from the bottom to get back to the app library. So the alphabetical list can be handy when you're looking for something, but then you can streamline your search by hitting the little alphabet letter on the right very carefully. So you can find and open an app in the app library. So if the category has a few small icons, excuse me, you can tap on them to expand the category. Okay, so if we hit cancel up here to get out of our alphabetical list, you can see these categories. So the categories are set up by the system. So the categories we have are suggestions, recently added, productivity, social, utilities, information and reading, travel, other, health and fitness, shopping and food, photo and video, entertainment. And we have finance, creativity, productivity and finance, games, and education. So if we look at the education here at the bottom, get back there, you can see we got 4 little small icons here in the lower right hand corner. So if we tap on that, we see that there's a bunch of apps in the education category that you wouldn't know were there if you didn't tap on the app. So then to get out of that, you just tap in a blank area. So you're back to your categories. And again, if you tap here at the top, you get your alphabetical listing. So that our iPhone, and we swipe up from the bottom, and one more time, and one more time. Now we're back to our home screen. We click on our search, or we could or we can swipe down anywhere in between an app to search. And we type in TI for tips. It appears here. It's the light bulb with the T in the center. We tap on that, and we get collections. So the collections that they have are getting started, discover more, photos and camera, Apple Watch, and all your devices. So if we go here to get started, we can click on navigate your phone, and you can see here's one of the tips that we demonstrated. Go straight to home, switching between apps. We talked about that, but there's more here. So the tips app is very handy to kind of review things and learn new things. Then also here at the very bottom, we have the iPhone user guide. And of course, if you did this in your iPad, it would be the iPad user guide. So we touch on that, and we have the user guide. You can scroll through it, or you can go to the table of contents. And if we click here on basics, for example, then that expands into a lot more topics. Um, so we can learn about dictating text. So it's a very complete manual. It's that manual that didn't come in the box, because the manuals that came in boxes were outdated by the time you got the box. So now this is kept up to date and available on your phone. So that is the Tips app, and it's a good idea to learn how to use that, and it will help you out. YouTube documentation to find the promised perks that we get at 100. I haven't found that yet, so hopefully by next week I'll be able to tell you what we have that's new and better. So let's see what we have here. Susan says, do you think there's a problem in updating iOS before version 3 if you have no documents on an iPhone, iPad, or Apple Watch? What can go wrong? I didn't update my MacBook before version 3. Well, it's usually little things. Thank you for the thumbs up. It can usually be little things that may not affect you if you update before the version 3, the 16.3 in this case. We just are erring on the side of safety. So you can update before that, but there might be something that is going to cause you a problem. So Susan also says, all my apps are in folders on one page, so I don't have any dots. That's true. Yep, that's a good way to organize. Just keep folders on your first page, and then you can easily get to everything. And Bob says, how do you find an app when you don't remember the exact name? Well, that is a problem. So one little thing that you can do, and let me demonstrate this. So we're going to go to our app library. So maybe you remember the name of the developer. So let's say it's an app by Google. So here I have all the apps from the developer named Google all in a row. So if you remember the name of the developer, maybe that's a way to do it. So if you don't know the developer, you don't know the name of the app, maybe you can do a search on the internet to give you some clues. Susan says, put the apps in name folders and try to remember which folder. That's a good idea. And Susan says the suggestions folder in the library has what the system can identify, I think. Yep. And there's another one called Other. So okay, I shouldn't be muted anymore. Okay. So Susan didn't know about tips, so I'm glad that we informed you. And I have been muting myself because I've got a little congestion in my throat and I had to cough. So hopefully I'm back here. So great questions. That always adds a lot, helps everybody. When you ask a question, it answers it for somebody else many times. So don't hesitate to ask questions. There are no stupid questions. So Thank you very much for joining us today. And if you have any other questions, let's see, Bob has something here. So Bob is saying, I missed the bit where you got to the app list. Okay, be glad to repeat that. So here we are on our phone. So to get to the app list, you go to your last home screen. You swipe from right to left to get to the app library. And when you tap on the app library up here, it turns into the search field, and that's how you get your alphabetical list. Does that answer your question, Bob? Of course, you can scroll through that and use the alphabet here on the side to go to a section of the alphabet. So here I went to the R's. So hopefully that clears that up. Okay, well, thanks again for joining. We'll be back here next week at high noon on Tuesday with more tips and tricks on how to be more productive on your Mac. If you have any questions between now and then, including any topics that you'd like me to cover, you can contact me at the phone number or the email address that's coming up right now. Have a great rest of your day.